Hi everyone, it's Jenny here, and today I want to talk about our heart and the circulatory system within our body and the very important role that it plays for us. So, what the circulatory system does is it carries rich oxygenated blood through our arteries, our veins, our capillaries, reaching every part of our body and all the systems through all of our organs and cells and tissues, ensuring that everything within us is living and thriving, creating homeostasis. And it does this by making a complete circle through our body, starting from the heart, traveling through all the veins, and then returning right back to the heart. And it happens so quickly. Within less than a second, this happens. It's pretty amazing. So when I think about our circulatory system within our body, I like to think of our inner body as its own ecosystem, and I love, comparing that to the ecosystem that we live in. So to me, the heart and the circulatory system is our rivers and streams and all the waterways that we see on Earth. If we think about what a river does, it's carrying nutrients and minerals, and all the water is continuously moving and eventually reaching the ocean. It's pretty amazing. And if we were to cut off water to a piece of land, that piece of land would eventually not thrive anymore. If you have a garden and you water it every day, all of these amazing fruits and vegetables are going to grow. If we cut that water supply off for, say, a week or so, you would eventually see all of those rich, beautiful plants begin to wilt and die. So the same thing happens with our body. We need really good, rich, blood flow reaching all of the cells and tissues. And this, if you can think about it, our organs and our cells and tissues are, you could say our vegetation. We want to keep them living and thriving and making sure that they have really good blood supply reaching them. So I want to talk about how the heart actually does this and how the process of it works. So the heart is actually divided in, say, two halves, the right side of the heart and the left side of the heart. And it's actually divided into two parts because that way within the heart, rich oxygenated blood isn't mixed with poor oxygenated blood. So therefore we have the two parts. So the blood is going to enter the heart through the right ventricle and the right atrium. And as it does this, it's going to get squeezed and pumped down to the pulmonary artery. And if you saw my last video where I was talking about the respiratory system and the role that it plays, so just a brief summary of that. When we take in a breath of air, this air is going down into our lungs, going all the way down till its final stop in the alveoli, where it reaches this sac where, this thin membrane where oxygen can actually penetrate through the membrane and go through and reach our bloodstream. And that's how the blood becomes oxygenated. So backing up again, the blood is being pumped down the pulmonary artery in our lung, and it's picking up that oxygen. Now it's going to actually go back into the heart, but it's going to enter through the left atrium and the left ventricle. And as it pumps through this part of the heart, it's going to go down and get squeezed and pumped into the aorta. And the aorta is going to disperse the blood throughout all of the arteries and veins and capillaries all through our body, reaching all the cells and tissues. And eventually it's coming back to the heart. And when it comes back to the heart, this process is going to be repeated again. So that is the process of how the heart works, how the blood becomes oxygenated, and continuous pumping throughout our body of rich nutrients. So, going back to, thinking of blood in our veins and capillaries as the rivers and streams of our body. Another way to think about an analogy is, can you imagine if we created a dam in our arteries? So if you think about a river or a body of water, and what happens if we create a dam and we actually shut the water off for a certain amount of time? If you can imagine, that's going to start disrupting our ecosystem. It disrupts the natural flow of minerals and nutrients flowing down, nourishing all the land and vegetation. And it's also disrupting, the fish in the water as well. That gets thrown off too, because the fish are migrating, maybe from the north to south, and they have a path in which they need to get to. And if that path is shut off, then it disrupts their ecosystem. So things can get a little thrown off, and the same thing happens with our arteries. Our arteries can actually begin to become clogged, and they become clogged with plaque and bad cholesterol. So when that happens, if they become too clogged, then that can create heart disease. It could create blood clots, stroke, heart attack. Those things can eventually happen. And so there's things that we want to do for preventative measures to make sure that we're keeping the streams and the waterways flowing freely, and making sure that there's nothing in our arteries that is disrupting this steady flow of blood and nutrients in the body. So one way by doing that is ensuring that we're avoiding bad cholesterol. The bad cholesterol is going to be processed foods. Usually this could be packaged foods, foods that are high in sugar content. Also anything fried, fried foods, fried chicken, fried steaks. Also fatty meats as well. These are an example of a few different foods that by eating them a lot over a long period of time can begin clogging the arteries. Some of the foods that we really want to increase in our diet is going to be high in fiber foods such as beans and vegetables and different fruits. Also ensuring that we're eating a good plant-based diet, making sure we're getting all of our good vegetables in, like zucchinis and eggplants and tomatoes, and all these foods are great for the heart. And also just, having a good healthy intake of protein and good carbohydrates, watching our saturated fat and making sure that we're not getting too much saturated fat, and the saturated fat that we are getting is a healthy saturated fat. And minimizing, just making sure that we're not overdoing it in that area. Olive oil is great for the heart to cook with. And so just making sure that we're getting a good balanced meal of our nutrient intake. And also exercise is really great for the body. Working out 30 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day for 5 days of the week is great. Not overdoing it. We want to make sure that we exercise within our comfort level, that we're not overdoing it, that we're not overstraining our heart too much, but just keeping the blood flowing through our body is ensuring that it's reaching all of the tissues in our body. So those are some really great dietary ideas. Exercising is great for the heart. Getting a good night's rest is going to be good for the heart, and also minimizing alcohol. So just to summarize everything up, the heart it's an organ, it's a muscle, and it's constantly pumping blood throughout our body, spreading nutrients through our body, and ensuring that our cells, tissues, and organs and all parts of us are living and thriving and creating homeostasis within our system. So I hope that you took something valuable away from this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out and message me. And I hope that you have a great day.